So for time's sake, we may have a few more people that are going to be joining a few more classes, but just for time's sake, I'd like to move forward. So for Black History Month, we're going to have a series of guest speakers once a week, and really just trying to connect with you guys and offer you guys opportunities to hear the stories of people, um, who have done some really cool things in life. And Mr. Morton is someone that I know personally. And I was shocked. I don't want to give it away, but I was like, man, I like saw, and I was like, whoa, he does that. I was like sitting on the couch with my wife, and I was like, whoa. So I think it's a blessing, and I really want to say thank you to Mr. Morton to take time out of his busy schedule to chat with kids from Plainfield. I don't want to speak too much about him because I don't want to kind of tell his story. But I just want to speak about expectations, and I've never worked with the students on this call. I'm a former teacher now. I'm a supervisor. But guys, if you're willing, please, out of respect, keep your microphones muted. Um, I would like you guys to do one thing, and that is to write down either a takeaway. So you could say, hey, Mr. Morton, I love when you said this, or you can write down a question. So he may say, I went to college here. And you're like, oh, well, can you tell me about that college? Or, what was their GPA requirement? Or, say, how did you get into your profession? Right. So my expectations, guys, is that you write down a comment or a question to ask Mr. Morton at the conclusion of his talk. So he's basically gonna tell you his life story. And kind of tell you the work that he does. Guys, if you could just turn your cameras off, just because it'll help with the bandwidth. So turn your cameras off, and the expectation is that you take those questions and you write them in the chat. And what happens is when we get to the conclusion of his talk, we'll take those questions and ask you guys. So without further ado, I'm gonna mute myself, and I'm going to introduce Mr. Morton to share a story and share what he does.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? It's good to be here. I'm a fellow, Plainfield head, born and raised in Muhlenberg, Muhlenberg Hospital, which I don't think is there anymore, but, I was born there. So it's good to be talking to you all. And yeah, it's good to be talking to y'all. So first, I'm just gonna, tell you like what I do. Like I'm an actor. I act for film, television, commercials, plays. You name it. That's kind of what I do. And I just kind of just tell you my story of how I got to where I am now. So again, like I said, man, I was born and raised in Plainfield. I went to school because I lived on the East End for the early part of my years, and then I moved to the West End. So I started going to Hubbard. So I went to Hubbard for middle school, and then from Hubbard, I graduated to the high school. I played several sports there at the high school, and was fortunate enough to get a scholarship, a partial scholarship, to a school called Colgate University, which is a school in upstate New York. It is very cold, and I was the minority there. I mean, well, I'm the minority in life, but at Plainfield, Plainfield, it was, predominantly, African American at the time, and going up to Colgate, it was totally different. I didn't have, there were no, I mean, there were no, I didn't have any like white students in my class coming up at Plainfield, but at Colgate, it was the exact opposite. I didn't have any, there were no people of color in my class, or it was lucky. Maybe I had one, but it was very much, the I was the lone wolf, so to speak. So it was a crazy experience for me. Um, and keep in mind, coming at the height, coming growing up in Plainfield, like acting was always something that I wanted to do, but I didn't know any actors. Like I didn't know anybody who was an actor. I didn't know any playwrights. I didn't know any directors or anything like that. I had an uncle who was into computers, and I saw that he would travel a lot. You know, he would get frequent flyer miles, and he would go like all over the world in computers. So I was like, you know what? I want to be an actor. Acting was so cool. I would watch the movies and be amazed at all of it. But it just seemed like to me that it was like a ridiculous thought. Like it wasn't something that was like realistic or something that I could do. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go to Colgate and I'm going to major in computer science because I'm going to be like my uncle. I'm going to travel around the world and I'm going to do computer stuff. So that is in fact what I did. I went to Colgate, I majored in computer science, and I graduated, and um, I had a death in the family. So my father passed away. So my father passed away, I left Plainfield and I moved down to Virginia and I got a nice, safe computer job down in Virginia. So I worked for for the government. So I was what you call a consultant. So I worked for I worked for AT&T, but I was a consultant for the government. So I would work at different army bases down there. I worked at the Pentagon, doing random secret stuff. I got a top secret clearance. With like a polygraph. That's when they hook you up with a polygraph and they ask you all sorts of questions like, are you a threat to the United States? And they get all up in your business, asking you all kinds of personal questions, and in order to get clearance to go on all of these various government facilities. So um, I did that. Um, and like I said, I worked in IT what I did specifically was information assurance. So information assurance is like it's kind of like a hacker, but you're preventing the hackers. So you're doing like network monitoring, you're monitoring networks and making sure that other countries aren't trying to hijack, the U.S. Resources or the U.S. assets. It was a very interesting job. It paid me very, very well, but uh, I didn't like it, and I did it for about 10 years. And over that 10 years, it was like the money was good. The money was good. I tell you one thing, money is a good thing and it's a bad thing because um, it's like you're making money and you're happy and you think growing up, at least I thought money would make me happy. It's like I'm making, six figures at the time or over six figures. I had a nice brand new Benz. I had a nice house. I was living a life and I would work from home. I would travel. I would travel around the country. This my children are just running around. Pardon them. I'm sure you hear them. I would travel around the country and it was lovely, but I was sitting in a cubicle, and I don't know if you've ever sat in a cubicle. Y'all are young, you don't know what a cubicle is, maybe, or you never sat in one. But when you sit in one for years, it's kind of like you deform, and well, for me, not everyone, where you kind of just like, it's like it just messes with you. So I said, you know what, Aaron, you really want to act, man. You've been really wanting to act for all your life, and you never did it. And one thing I never wanted to do was I never wanted to live with regrets, man. I didn't want to be 50, 60, 70 years old and be like, oh, if I would have acted, I knew I would have made it. I didn't want to be that guy. So I said, you know what, Aaron, you really wanted to act? Like, let's really pursue this. You can't stand your job. Uh, why don't you go to grad school? My girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now, she said, Aaron, why don't you go to grad school for acting? And I was like, well, you could go to grad school for acting? And she's like, yeah. I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to try to go to grad school for acting, just like that. And um, I prepared for it. I learned in order to get into grad school for acting, there were at the time when I went in 2013 was when I went. It was three criteria. You had to do two monologues and sing a song. The monologues had to be contrasting. You're a performing arts school, so monologues. They had to be two contrasting monologues and a song. And one of the monologues had to be like a classical monologue, so like Shakespeare. Typically be Shakespeare. Um, so I learned a monologue. I chose a play, a contemporary play, a contemporary playwright, August Wilson. And I practiced, and I drove to New York because, like I said, I was living in Virginia at the time. I drove to New York and I auditioned for many schools. I auditioned for schools in California. I auditioned um, for schools in New York. Um, so in New York, they had like a lot of the schools would come to New York from like all over the country. So if you wanted to go to UCLA, you didn't have to go there. You could There were like people from UCLA that would come to New York and you could audition there. So, audition for the NYU's, Rutgers, Juilliard, for various schools. And, I didn't get accepted to some, but I was not deterred. Like when you set your goal for something, what I found is that a lot of times you're gonna come across obstacles, but it's how you respond to them. Do you keep going, or do you allow them to keep you down? So I didn't get accepted to a few, and then I ended up getting accepted into two. I went to one audition, PAAAS University. I went there, and the people told me right there, they were like, Aaron, we're not supposed to say this, but you're accepted. Don't tell the other people that are out there waiting, but you're accepted. That was amazing work what you did. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it. So I got my first acceptance was PAAAS University in New York, and then I just rolled that high, and I went to following that I went to Columbia University, which is another school in New York, and I auditioned there, and I got in there as well. So I said, all right, PACE, Columbia. I chose Columbia. So I went to Columbia University, which is an Ivy League school, a very prestigious university. So I went there and I got my master's, which is called a Master's of Fine Arts. I got my MFA in acting there. And that program is a 3-year program. Now I want you to keep in mind that I didn't have any like classical training in acting, right? So I essentially went from being, in a cubicle, creatively wasting away to school with, I was at the time, I was 32, 33 years old, hadn't worked. Like you guys are so young, so you may not like realize this, but imagine working in your field for like 10 years and then going back to school full time as like a 33-year-old. It's like a whole new world. It's like it's just a transformational experience. It really was. And I learned a whole lot. Becoming an actor, I learned a lot about myself. I feel like I learned a lot about the world, and I learned a lot about humanity and what it means to feel and to be empathetic, and just so much words can't really describe it. Um, so I went to Columbia, and I learned a whole lot. Um, in and my classmates, most of them were like 22-year-olds, so most of them were like directly out of undergrad. So it was, they kept me young, and I kind of kept them grounded. So it was a great balance. And what happens is at the end of your graduate training, you have what is called a showcase. So a showcase is when you prepare a scene for people in the industry. People in the industry are agents, managers, casting directors. Everybody comes, and they come to see you perform and do your thing. And I did my thing, did a few scenes, and I was able to get representation. Excuse me, representation. So representation is when you have a manager or an agent, because managers and agents assist you in getting work. They know casting directors, and they allow you to be seen. And when you're seen is when you can get on TV and do your thing. So I ended up getting representation, and like I said, I graduated. I graduated in 2016. So it's a 3-year program, and I've been doing acting ever since. I've been acting ever since, I graduated. I have no intention to go back to my previous career. People ask me, um, you know, well, it was good you got a computer science degree because you have, something to fall back on. But, I don't look at it that way. My computer science degree is something of a former life, so to speak. And um, one thing that I learned while I was in school, and this is for everyone else, I guess, if those of you who are interested in a master's of fine arts, like a master's of fine arts is a terminating degree. So what that means is just like a PhD is like as high as you can go in certain fields, or most fields, I guess. An MFA, a Master's of Fine Arts, is the highest that you can go in my field, like for acting. So if I wanted to teach at any school in the country, I could do that, just the same way a PhD could. So it's a terminating degree. I can go no higher, and yeah. So now my journey begins as however old I am. I'm 39 years old. My goodness, 39, and I've been acting for 4 years, I guess, going on five because I graduated in 2016, and during that time, I have worked with some cool people. I've met some cool people. Ava DuVernay. I don't know if you're familiar. I'm sure you're familiar with her. She is an everything. Right? She's a producer. She's a writer, filmmaker, director. Um, I was able to meet her and audition in front of her and book work. And she liked me enough to cast me in her film, which was a dope thing. When They See Us, which is on Netflix, and I've also been fortunate enough to meet and work with Lena Waithe, which she is. I believe she's the first. Um, she was the first Black woman to win an Emmy, to win a primetime Emmy, which is a big deal. Um, to work with her in a film, she's got a film that's coming out on Netflix called Beauty, that I filmed a year or two ago. That is going to be coming out shortly, and it's going to be a good one. Um, and those are just some of the people that I've worked with. Derek C. in France is another. He's a director that I work with. Um, The Place Beyond the Pines. He directed this film called The Place Beyond the Pines, which I thought was a good movie. Um, so I'm very young in my journey. Like I said, I've only been acting for 4 or 5 years. I've got a commercial running now. I had another commercial running some time ago that was pretty popular. I've been on some television shows. You know, there's a show called For Life that's on ABC. I've been on a few episodes on that. Um, the Blue Bloods. I've been on the show called Blue Bloods. The show called The Blind Spot. The show called The Blacklist. The show called The Path on Hulu. Trying to think. A few other shows I can't. My mind is slipping right now. It's early, right? Um, but that's kind of been my path to where I am now. And one thing I want you all to realize that I didn't realize is that you you can do anything you want to do, right? You guys are so young and you're at the age that you can do anything you want to do, like literally anything. But you have to think that you can, right? You have to believe in yourself, right? Like I didn't when I was coming up. I guess I didn't believe in myself, right? I didn't believe that becoming an actor was a viable option for me. So as as a result, I I started 10 years, 12 years after I could have become an actor. So I don't want to say that time was wasted, but so just believe in yourself and don't doubt yourself. And if you've got a gut feeling about something, go for it, because your gut, when we were babies, when we were forming, like our heads and our stomachs were connected, so we were like this, and then we extended out. So our gut, there's like over like a million or 100 million like neural connections in your stomach. Like your stomach and your brain are connected. So when you get those gut feelings about something, those are valuable, and I think you should follow those. Um, in terms of, okay, I'll ask, I'll answer some questions. I believe, yeah,
You
okay,
could continue telling the story. We'll save the questions for the end.
okay, no doubt, no doubt. Um, yeah, just believe in yourself, man. And I tell you what, in your journeys in life, regardless of what field you choose, whether it's acting or whether it's whatever, it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy, especially if you choose acting. It's not going to be easy, but you've got to persevere and you've got to believe in yourself when no one else does. There may be a time when your parents are like, you've been doing this for some time. Are you sure you want to do this? Is this the right thing? I mean, come on. Your spouse, uh, everybody. There may come a time when literally all you have that believes in yourself is you. And so if you don't believe in yourself, then you're setting yourself up for failure. So whatever it is that you do, whatever it is, just believe in yourself and have confidence that you can do it because you can. Um, that's one of the main things that I really want that I really want to hit home, and I hope that you get from this story or from my journey is just believing in yourself. The arts and the acting field, it needs new perspective. Like you guys provide, all of your life experiences provide new perspective and new insight into the way we see things. So, write, read, create. Your imagination is like a muscle. Like if you don't use it, it kind of just you know fades away, which is what I think happened to me. Because as you go, as you're a child, your parents are like, stop, put that down, don't touch that, you know, stop daydreaming. And then so as adults, we grow up and we're very regimented and we're very much like this, where we're like, okay, I go to work, I come home, I make food for my family, I watch TV, I go to bed, I do it again, maybe I go on vacation. It's very just normal, just typical, which I guess is the way it should be. But it's very rare that we use our imaginations as adults. So something I want to encourage you all to do is keep using your imagination because, like I said, it's like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. So keep imagining, keep dreaming fantastical, wonderful things. Like don't let anybody stifle your impulse to imagine, to dream, and create, and continue to do that, and just create the world that you want to be, and do those things. Um, and that, uh, yeah, that's the gist of it. And what I also want to go into, I'm sorry, is um, yeah, no, that's the gist of it. I won't beat you guys on the head. That's the
No,
gist.
so listen, if you don't mind, before we take the questions, could you tell us, because I mean, I know it because we talk, could you tell the kids and everyone on the call for that matter about Bridge to Reality, what that is, what opportunities it lends to or leads to, and how you could be of service to the kids and just things like that. You just tell us about Bridge to Reality.
For sure. So part of my so what COVID has done, it's affected us all, but for me particularly, it again that creative aspect, finding identifying problems and looking for solutions to them. So growing up, like as I said, I didn't know any actors, writers. I didn't know anybody in the entertainment field. So that was one problem that I noticed. And then the second problem that I noticed is when I graduated from grad school, I was older. So when I graduated, I was maybe 35 or 36, and I was trying to find a mentor in the acting field, but it was impossible. It was just very difficult. Like nobody wanted to mentor, a 35, 36-year-old man. It was like, I was, competition, I suppose, or like, I don't know, but I wasn't, it just was very difficult for me. So what I thought to myself was like, man, I didn't know any artists or actors growing up, and I had a difficult time finding a mentor. How can I kind of marry these two problems and present a solution? So in all this idle time we had, because my profession for a period of time there was like no auditions or nothing. I said, how can I create something that can solve these two problems? And I came up with the idea for a nonprofit organization called Bridge to Reality. And Bridge to Reality is program is geared towards increasing the number of people of color in the arts and entertainment. So, and I plan to do this by, so I've been fortunate enough, like I said, to work with very cool people, and be affiliated with very cool universities. So Columbia University, which is, I know that the head of acting there, because he was there when I was there. Um, I told him about this program I'd like to start, and he said, "You know what, Aaron? He's for it." So, and I have a lot of colleagues from that are on TV, on Broadway, off Broadway, making their own work. I have a lot of friends that I'm like, "Hey guys, I'm looking to start this nonprofit, and would you be on to take on a mentor to kind of show them the ins and outs of acting, just the basics, and kind of create a network so that the younger kids have someone to look up to. If you say, hey, I want to be a playwright, I can say, okay, I know a playwright. Here, let me connect you with him or her. Oh, you want to be a director or filmmaker? I know these people, and I can kind of, start, or we can build a relationship, so we can build a community of artists where you have a network of colleagues that you can work with, and you have a professional in the field that can give you insight on kind of the things that you need to do, kind of some tricks of the trade, things of that nature. So that is that's my program, and we're looking for students now. Right now, as a matter of fact, we're taking on 11th and 12th grade students at this point in time. um, and if you're interested, I encourage you to go to our website, which is www.bridgetoreality.com. Go to the website and register, and we can get you paired with a mentor, and yeah, just get you going on your way, teach you some things, and our mentors are going to be everywhere, man. They're some are on TV, some got their own YouTube platforms, some are teachers at universities. We're kind of everywhere. So um, that is the program. And again, I encourage you to check us out on our webpage, and our Instagram as well. We've got Instagram. We're fancy here. Not just the internet. Not just a website, but IG too. Instagram is the Bridge to Reality. That's our Instagram. We'll be posting updates on mentors, um, and all of that. So yeah, I encourage you, if you're interested, come check us out and see how we can, benefit you.
So, Mr. Morton, since we have a little bit of time before we take questions, I want to have you, if you could go to the chat feature on the top right of your screen,
Mm-hmm.
click that, and could you put your website and your Instagram, like if you could just type it out for the kids so that they can have access to it, if they so be it. And just guys, I just wanted to put a reminder. He said they're accepting 11th and 12th grade students. And also that, you'd have to speak to your parents before you do this. And obviously, let your parents know, hey, this is something I'm interested in, and, talk to Aaron, your parents, not just, alone. And Ms. Valencia said, Mike, wherever Mike is, turn your camera off. So Bridge to Reality is the website. And again, like it's 11th and 12th grade students, you apply, and he'd have to talk to your parents before, you set this up, and you connect with, someone. But yeah, so let's look at some questions. One question that's easy is, one of the kids or a teacher want to know what elementary, middle school. I guess you went to Hubbard. What elementary school did you go to?
I went to Woodland.
Oh, Woodland School. I went there too.
Yeah.
Woodland also doesn't exist anymore.
It's crazy, man. I drove by the other day, man, and I was like, what is this? Are they like combining Woodland and Maxon or something, or is it just
They're
gone?
they're building like a new elementary school, and it's supposed to be like big and new and beautiful. Yeah, so they got rid of Woodland, and they're gonna build something new in the next few years, which is sad because I went to Woodland too, and I have so many wonderful memories from Woodland School.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Did you have Miss Way? Did you know Miss Way or no? Was she not there when you were there?
Miss Way, my brother had Miss Way.
An amazing teacher, and she cared.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
one kid said, Miss Temple, I'm not sure if this is a student or a teacher, said, do you ever think to expand your career by producing or writing your own film or play in the future?
Well, that's funny enough you said that. That's something I forgot to mention. I did write my own film. I wrote my own film. Got one of my classmates. Again, a lot of this field is about collaboration and networking. I wrote a film. This is right before the pandemic began. I wrote a film, connected with a film student from Columbia, an NYU student, a cinematographer from NYU. One of my classmates came on as the producer, and I wrote my own short film that is currently, I've submitted it to various film festivals now. So I'm waiting to hear back, hopeful that something pops off. But in this field, you gotta kind of be everywhere. It's not enough to just act. You've gotta kind of do it. You gotta kind of do it all. So I'm also looking into starting a production company. The same crew that I work with. It's like if we work on our own projects and produce our own stuff, it's just a good way to get seen, and a good way to control your own content. So yeah, I'm doing all of that. Doing all of that.
Awesome, thank you. So what's your day to day look like? I know that's altered with COVID, but if you think about right, like for me, the kids don't notice, but like for me, my hours are 8 to 4:30 now. Come in the office, I do, I send emails, and we talked about that kind of like day to day. But I can imagine that it'd be different because you're doing contracted work for films or television shows or plays and things like that. So like what does a day-to-day slash week look like? Are you marketing yourself? Are you like, do you have things lined up? Is it with COVID? Is it like less busy now? Or like, so what does your day-to-day look like?
So my day to day is interesting. I have a wife and two kids, and she works from home. So my day to day involves making breakfast and making lunch and cooking dinner. That's like the familial day to day, right? And then aside from that, it's create being creative. So I have a partner of mine who's also, she's one of our mentors as well. She's a dope playwright, actress, and she and I are collaborating on, we're like writing these scenes, filming them, and we're going to be putting them online. So I'm like doing editing. I'm editing and writing. So that's kind of in one lane. And then I'm always in contact with my manager and my agents. So things have been slow, or slower, but they'll send me an audition. They'll send me an email, say, hey Aaron, such and such is casting. We got this audition for you. We need this tape by Friday. So I'll go and record the scene and send it to my manager agent. A lot of the auditions now are from home, so they're like calls like this. So I'll go on a Zoom call or something, at a designated time, and you'd be a casting director, and I'd be like, hey, how's it going? They're like, hey, Aaron, let's kind of show us what you got, kind of thing. So my days vary, man. It's like on a good week, I'll have two or three, four auditions, and I'll be doing like this, Zoom calls, or I'll tape myself and send the tape off to the casting director, and then some weeks, I'm just kind of doing my own thing. It really, it really fluctuates, man. There are highs and there are lows, man. There'll be times where I'll go, you know, a month without an audition, and then during that time, I'm working on my own stuff. Again, the way this field works, again, with like healthcare. So with healthcare, If you're an actor, if you're in the union, if you're like a SAG actor, there's a minimum amount of money you have to make in order to qualify for health care. So um, I'm just trying to make that minimum. That's that's the goal. The goal is just to work to make the amount of money, to take care of the family, and constantly increase.
So this is my adult brain working. I just want to. I have a question. We have a few comments. Two kids. One person said my little sister went to Woodland. Michael Acosta said he went to Woodland as well. Desiree Anderson, I do remember you from QCA. I do remember you. My question to you is, and guys, I know this may be outside of your realm of reality to the students, but it is an important question, and it's something that you really need to start calculating. Not now, but once you graduate and you become an adult, it's like, so for me, like I think about my salary and I think about my wife's salary and I think about how we make the house work and the house run. Like, all right, our salaries combined, we can pay the mortgage, we can pay our cell phone bills, we can do this, we can do that. So my question is multi-layered. Like, you made good money in your first job? Did you save that money and were you able to like live like while you were in school and your wife was working because of the money you saved? And then the next layer to that question is like, I know COVID is affecting things, but like is your wife holding down the fort, or like, how do you guys, and that's a real, maybe it's a personal question, but it's a real question, you know what I mean? Like, how do you guys make it work financially? And another layer to that is like, are you looking for like this big role and you get the big role and then you get paid a lot, and then, not that you could chill, but like you're not worried about finances?
Yeah, I mean, those are all good questions. Yeah, no, that like all of that, right? So man, let me. Okay, so wifey definitely holds it down. She's a teacher. She has a PhD as well, so she's very she's got her education game up. So she does much of the heavy lifting. But the interesting thing about acting is like one job, particularly a commercial, like a commercial can set me up for the year because commercials are very lucrative. And going back, so when I left my job, I kind of had an idea I was going to do it, so I did save. So my first 2 years, particularly at grad school at Columbia, I had good amount of money saved up. Like, all right, boom, this is what we're going to do. I'm living in New York now. New York is expensive as all. And she was actually still in grad school, so it was just I just was living off of my money. So she was still in DC, and I was in New York, just solo, just making it work with loan money and money that I had saved up. Now, as I've graduated, I made more and more money each year. Like I said, a commercial, it takes 2 days to film, but those 2 days, once the commercial starts going, you could easily make 50, 60, 70, 80. It ranges. But you can make a year's worth of salary essentially from a weekend's worth of work. And then you top that off with um, the co-stars, the roles that I've done here on this show and that show and that show. So like I said, I've been fortunate enough to every year. I don't make as much as my wife yet, right? But I've been fortunate enough to make enough to, because her healthcare, her job is like, they hit her on the head, man. It's like ridiculous the amount of money they take out of her check, each check for healthcare. So, and my healthcare is solid. So I've been fortunate enough to make enough money to um, cover our whole family for healthcare. And I have certain things, the way we have it economically broken down. She's got the big stuff, and then I got a whole bunch of the little things, but it works out. It works out. Like I said, I'm definitely not making 110. I think I was making like 110, 115,000. I was like 20. I was like 27, dog. 27, making like $110,000 a year, like no kids, like what? And now I'm like 39, and I'd say on average I probably make about 40, probably make about $40,000, which is again about a little less than half of what my wife makes, but it's going up every year and it's enough to do what I need to do. So, you know, and again, also realizing that before, like to me, my whole perspective has changed in terms of happiness. Like we have enough, I don't need, we have enough. So as long as we have enough, then I'm good. And she's real good about not, make sure you have spouses you all that understand you and that appreciate you and understand what it is, because she's been a rider with me this whole time. So
Mm.
she's never been like, hey, you know, blah 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 blah. She's been very supportive. So I'm thankful for that.
That's really powerful. I have a bunch of questions. Oh, is there somebody? Hello?
Oh, sorry,
Um,
I just saying to hi to Mr. Aaron Morton.
go ahead.
Hello.
I don't. Hello? So Aaron, Mr. Morton, what would a big financially, just because I'm an adult, I think it's important that we have these conversations with kids. And this was just the last question that was tied to the piece that you were previously talking about. But what does a big role mean for you financially? Like a big movie or like a big commercial? Like what does that mean for you professionally and financially?
I mean, professionally, it's like in this field, work like begets work. So it's kind of like if you book something and people see you on your face on TV, they're like, "Oh, I recognize you. Yeah, come be in this project too." It's kind of like that pattern kind of continues to happen. So it's like the more you do, the more you're seen. The more you're seen, the more people want to see you, and it's kind of like that. So in terms of, I had a classmate, or this guy was a year older, a year over me at Columbia. He graduated 2015. He went on to star in a few sitcoms, and sitcoms maybe have I don't know, 20, let's say 20 episodes in a season. And I was like, man, Marcel, like what do you make? And I mean, he was making this guy, he graduated, he was younger than me, right? So he was like maybe 25, making like $35,000 an episode. Yeah, yeah. So you're like, if you book like a series regular on a television show, like, I mean, and he was like I'm gonna say a nobody, but he's like fresh out of school. I don't know if you remember years or years ago, like the people from Friends, the show Friends, which is like a popular, like
Yeah.
they were making $1 million an episode.
Oh my God.
So if you're, like that's the range. I mean, you're looking at, anywhere from $30,000 if you've got like a bomb show like that's been doing it. I mean, maybe not Friends level. I don't know if folks are making $1 million episode now, but I mean, easily, like somebody like a show like Blackish or something like that. I mean, they're easily making a couple $100,000 an episode.
Wow.
You
Have
know,
you ever turned down a role for any reason?
I have turned down a role. I have turned down a role. There was this show on. Well, I didn't turn down. Okay, so let me clarify. I didn't turn down the role because I got it. I turned down even auditioning for it because if I did get it, I wasn't going to do it. And it involved like nudity, and it was just stuff that I just wasn't comfortable with. You know, it was a show on HBO, The Deuce. I don't know if there's a show on, I think it's HBO called The Deuce.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, and it involved some stuff, and I was like, nah, I'm good. Like I won't do that. So,
Yeah.
you know, there's always, you have to value, what's valuable to you. Some people, they'll do whatever, and it's no judgment, it's no shade, but if you do whatever makes you happy, and what you feel comfortable with, and if you can, whatever you can live with, you know, being people around the world seeing you, so Yeah, I was like, nah. My manager was like, hey, Aaron, are you comfortable? I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. Hey, Scott, I don't mean to pick on you, Scott, but this class ends at 10:40. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so the kids, most of the kids are about to make a mass exodus. I just wanted to publicly thank you, Mr. Morton. I'm sure the kids got a lot out of it. If you could just type your website one more time, and I'm going to ask all of the kids and the teachers, if you could just screenshot the website and so that you can share it with, so that everyone can have it and share it with the kids. I'd like to get some Plainfield kids involved in this program, juniors and seniors. It's pumping out. And man, I just want to say thank you. Stories are powerful, and you never know who you help. If it's one kid that on this call that decides that they wanted to be an actor, or actress, you change their life, and that is like worth someone giving $1 million. So I just wanted to publicly say thank you. I also recorded this speech, this story, your story. So I'm gonna send it to you so that you have it in case you need to use it in the future, Mr. Morton.
Okay.
And then I'll connect you in a little bit. I'll connect you with the principal of the school, and we'll see if we could pump out some kids your way.
Hey, that'd be dope, man. I'd
Thank you,
appreciate
Aaron.
it. Anytime.
Mr. Morton, I have a question.
Sure.
Do you happen to have an Instagram that we could spotlight you on our school Instagram page?
Sure, I do have an Instagram.
If it's okay with you, we do Follow Fridays or Follow Back Fridays where we pick people that we believe the kids would enjoy. And you obviously are an inspiration to the students and the teachers here. And we would love to spotlight you if you have an Instagram and would love to share it with us.
Sure, I do. My IG game is real weak. Just FYI.
That's fine. That's fine.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Aaron, what's your next movie? Beauty 2021?
Yep, Beauty. Yep, that's
Yeah,
that's
you
the
will bartender next year.
Yep, I'm the bartender. Yeah, I'm not a nice guy in that one. I'm not yeah. My wife is like,
so what's gonna be released by May or maybe March?
Yo, that's the thing. I don't even know. So I filmed that maybe a year and a half, maybe even 2 years ago. So the time it takes for like post-production on these projects, man, it's like I have no idea. But I know it's a great cast, and it's gonna be. I know it's gonna be on Netflix. It's gonna be like when it comes out, it's gonna be #1. Like I would bet money it's gonna be like a #1 on Netflix. I would bet money.
Thank you, Aaron Morton. I will see you next time.
Anytime.
We'll see you again, maybe.
All right.
You see you're an actor and writer.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
All right, so like I said, I get you a meeting with the principal, and yeah, we'll do some work together with your organization. What do you still live local, or are you?
I'm in Bloomfield right now, but I'm gonna be moving, but I'm still gonna be in Jersey though.
Oh, all right, cool. So even if it's like a one day.
You just say Plainfield, Aaron?
Yeah. I'm gonna be closer to the city, not Plainfield. I'm gonna be close by though. I got a lot of family still in town.
Oh, it's Hillary coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like even if it's like a seminar with the kids or something like that, like I'm gonna find a way to get you in at PAAAS and just continue this partnership.
That would be dope, man. That'd be dope. I'd love nothing more than that, man. It would bring me a lot of joy, man, to give back to town, man, because Plainfield is home, and if we don't do it, who will?
Who will? Yeah. So I'm gonna just I'm gonna screenshot the website and then the Instagram. I got it, and I'll be able to pump this out. And so let's we'll close it with that, man. Thank you, bro. I will be in contact to send you all of this stuff. All right.
All right.
Thank you, Aaron Morton.
All right. Everybody have a good day.
All right, y'all too.
Next time.
Thanks.
Bye, Aaron Morton.
Bye.
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 Have a great day,
Bye.
Aaron Morton.
Bye.
Get started. Blue
Bye.
Buds.
Bye. Thank you so much for your presentation.